Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Baby Bump Life. It's Nurse Wit here, and today's podcast we are outside. Mr. Hugo is playing, and hopefully he'll be good, but if you hear the occasional scream, just know that a hummingbird has come over to our feeder, and he is very much enjoying the outside playing time. But today I want to talk to you guys about your water breaking, also can be known as SROM, which means spontaneous rupture of membranes, which is just the medical terminology for your water breaking. If this does happen at home, there's a couple things that I want you guys to know about. The first couple things to note are the time that it happens. So when you first notice that it happens, if there is any color noted at all, and if there is any odor. Now I'm going to kind of talk about a few of those things. The timing is important because once your water breaks, as long as you are full term, if it's preterm, that can be a little bit different of a situation. But if your water breaks and you're full term and you're in labor, what can happen is that kind of gives us a countdown as to when the baby needs to come out. Otherwise, moms can sometimes get an infection, sometimes start to spike a temp, and then if mom has a temperature, baby has a temperature as well, and just not how we really want baby entering this world is with that infection kind of brewing. So once your water breaks, we do kind of have a time frame. Every doctor is a little bit different as to how long they will let moms go once their water breaks. And again, this is for full term. If you're preterm, that kind of is a different situation, and I'll get into that in a second. But do keep track of the time that you notice it. The color is important because when your water breaks, it should be clear. Now, sometimes it can be a little blood tinged. If it is, that's okay. As your cervix is kind of changing too, you may have a little bit of like bloody show, and so having it a little blood tinged is okay, as long as it's not gushing blood and no clots. And then as long as it is not green. If you notice that it's green, it may be like a lighter kind of yellowish, greenish. Sometimes it can be really dark green. If you notice that at all, you need to, when you get to the hospital, let them know, this is the time my water broke, this is what color it is, and if there is an odor to it, let them know. So what does that mean? If there is a color, it can mean that the baby had a bowel movement inside. That bowel movement is meconium, is the first poop that they have. And so sometimes, oh man, did you get your arm all wet? He just stuck his whole arm in his water table and got his jacket all wet. Here, we'll take it off. So if your water does break and you notice that the color is green, let them know, because that means the baby has had a bowel movement inside, and we want to make sure that we have the appropriate staff present for the delivery. So if that does happen, we like the NICU team to be there. Every hospital is a little bit different in what that means. Some it may just be a nurse and a respiratory therapist from the NICU. Some may want the neonatologist there. It all kind of depends on the hospital. But those are three important things to let them know. And then something else I think that would be important to let them know is the amount. Was it a very small amount? Was it a large amount? Sometimes that can give us an idea too, if it was just a small little high leak, or if it was actually your water breaking, or was it that you accidentally peed on yourself, which does happen because the baby's head and body is pushing right up against your bladder, and that can happen sometimes too. So with the amount, just kind of keep in mind that it doesn't always happen like in the movies, like a big gush, my water broke. Sometimes it can be that little small high leak. And what I mean by that is, imagine the baby inside of a balloon, right? Okay, so that you got a balloon, you got a baby in there, and if I poke a hole at the very top of the balloon, okay, and it just kind of trickles down, right? It's not one big gush, it just pokes from the top and trickles down. Sometimes that's kind of what a high leak can look like. And so don't just assume that you peed on yourself. If you are at home and you have a little bit of leaking, you wipe and it keeps leaking, you need to go and be seen. If it's during the week, you can call your doctor's office and ask them what they want you to do. They may want you to come into their office and they can check it out. There's a little swab test that they can do to figure out, was that pee or was that your water that broke? Or they may just want you to go to the hospital. If it is after hours, you can call the hospital, or you can just go in to be seen. But it is important that if your water does break, that you are aware of that. We certainly don't want you going days or even a week without being seen if you think that your water did break. Now, as far as prematurely, it can happen. I have seen many of moms who their water has broken early on. And again, that's a different situation. That's not like your water breaks and we want to get the baby out in a certain amount of time. If your water breaks early, the perinatologists, the high-risk doctors, they typically will see you in the hospital, and they are going to be the ones who will determine, oh, sorry about the plane flying over top. But they will be the ones who determine if, they will be the ones that determine the plan of care, how long they're going to keep you pregnant for, watching for any signs of infection, giving you some antibiotics. So they'll be the ones who kind of assist your OB with your care. And you typically will stay in the hospital until you deliver. Hey guys, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First off, it's free. Secondly, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and so many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimal listenership. It's everything you need in a podcast in one place. I absolutely love it. So make sure you download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor, ANCHOR.FM to get started. So if you think that your water has broken, you just want to make sure that you are calling your doctor's office, getting to the hospital, and just seeking medical attention at that time. Like I said, even if it's early, even if you're unsure if that's what it really is, you want to make sure, because it's one of those things, it is better to be safe in this situation, because we don't want mom and potentially baby to get an infection. Because think of it, that is the baby's protective barrier. So once that has broken and baby's lost that protective barrier, mom and baby then are susceptible to infections. So just make sure that you are getting the help that you need during that time. And if you need more information on this, some of it I believe is the same, but you can check out my YouTube channel. I have a video there about your water breaking. If you just go to Baby Bump Life, just search that on YouTube, you'll find it. So I hope that helps you guys. Leave comments on any of my social media. Let me know if there's any other topics that you want me to discuss. Otherwise, I'll just keep doing my thing and giving you guys more and more information. So thank you guys so much for listening. Stay safe out there. Wash your hands. And until next time, I'll talk to you all very soon. Have a good day, you guys. Bye-bye.